Redemption, the act of regaining or gaining possession of something in exchange for payment or clearing of debt. I love that definition because God has done so much redeeming in my life. I grew up in a normal Christian household, or so I thought. There was a lot of hidden secrets in my household. My mom was a alcoholic and addicted to narcotics, and there was a lot of hidden sexual brokenness behind closed doors in my house, and a lot of that came out later in my life. I was always really close to God, and I always knew that He was there, even in the chaos as I was growing up. I was always close to God. Once I went away to college, I started hanging out with a rock band in the 80s, and it was a Christian rock band. And we did a lot of ministry down in Hollywood, and our ministry was basically just to take kids off the street of Hollywood and show them God's grace and mercy. But there was a lot of spiritual warfare at that time, and it gave me a chance to really see God's power and His grace in the life of these kids. And that gave me something to really hold on to. It was during that time I met my husband, and we got married shortly after that. We had, right after we got married, we started a family. We stayed involved in the church, and life just started happening. We got very involved in our kids and church, and even though we were involved in all those things, God just started slipping down our priority list, and everything else started taking top priority over our relationship with God. And I started having some severe health issues. I have a condition called Ehlers-Danlos, which is a condition where my joints don't stay in place. Due to some weight that I had put on with my first 2 pregnancies, the doctors wanted to do a gastric bypass. At that time, it was not known that gastric bypasses have a side effect of alcoholism. So shortly after the gastric bypass, and the fact that God wasn't really center in my life anymore, I started to turn to alcohol to cover the things that I was losing in my life. And it was a really hard 12 years of my life. I almost lost a lot. I almost lost my husband and my family, my job, my career, my self-esteem, my relationship with God. And it was through that time that I had to really hit my low. And it was God's redeeming power that was able to bring me back. And through that, and just really being able to see what He has done for me, and the past 9 years of my life, and just living that redemption one day at a time, and just seeing that miracle in my life. No, it's not perfect, and I still have to pay I still have to pay a price for some of the things that I've done. There's always going to be some consequences, but it's nothing compared to the love and the grace that I have in His redeeming power. And now I can say I have a wonderful husband. We've been married 26 years. I have 3 beautiful daughters. One of them's 24, one of them's 21, and God blessed us with a surprise blessing. She's 10 years old. And more importantly, they love me, they forgive me, they respect me, and most of all, they love the Lord. And through it all, we've all seen God's grace and His love. And I've been allowed to work with other women in recovery of all kinds, not just chemical dependency, but just all forms of recovery. And it's just great to see God work in other people's lives as well as my own.